Hello everyone, welcome once again. Now we are almost at the end of our Lean Six Sigma Foundation Training Program, and this is also where a project also gets over almost as just one final review, and bam, project is completed, and the training is also over almost. Though we'll talk a little bit about the training part later. So now we are doing the final tollgate review of the project, which is the control phase tollgate review. The way we have had the 4 toll gates review so far: define, measure, analyze and control, analyze and improve. Control phase toll gate review is little different. Why? Because this is not just the review of the control phase, it is also a review of the entire project, final project. Whatever we have done in all the phases, we try to look at a lot of these things in the final review. A key thing here which is asked as part of this review is, if the sponsors or black belt do not really agree that your solutions have really worked out well, if they have really benefited the process well, if they have not really improved the process, they may ask you to rework on the solutions again. So there is a possibility that you may have to rework on some of the solutions. There is a high possibility that you may have to go back to analyze phase, to the root cause analysis again, then again go back to improve phase, design solutions again, and then again go for review. This may happen. It depends how well you have developed your solution. That's why it's really important to be really serious, put in the 100%, do a very good data analysis, collect the right set of data, and then analyze it well, and do very good brainstorming on solution generation. As you don't want at the end of this project, especially at this stage when you have done 99% thing right, and for that last 1% thing they again send you back. So nobody would want it. If you can see my screen here, you can see things that we talk in the control phase, things that we cover in the control phase. We have a control plan. The first and foremost, the most important part of the control phase is a control plan. We talked about the elements of control plan. So they will ask, one of the key deliverables is the control plan. Then they will ask documentation of project findings. What are the lessons learned from this project? What we have lessons learned in terms of what went well, what did not go well, how could we have done it better. So have we documented our lessons, our learnings? Do you have a case study ready? Do you have a narration ready? Do we have a story ready that we can send it to our stakeholders? We can talk about our success. So they will ask you to document everything that you have done in this project, because a lot of things we do in a project gets really handy for another project that we work. They will ask you as another deliverable, this training and communication plan. As this is the last thing in the project, do we have a final training and communication plan ready? It's a key deliverable that's very important. And transfers to process owner. Before we close the project formally, as a project leader, you would transfer the project to a project leader who would be an operations guy, and that person will take care of the project after you have moved out of the project. So transfer risk formalities are taken care, and then validation of financial results. So that's the last thing which we try to which we do here, and we try to understand there are things that we have improved. We would have saved some cost, and in the long run how much cost we can generate in 1 year from the solutions that we have generated. So we try to validate the financial results as to this is what we had expected when we started the project, that this project can help us to save this much amount of money, and at the end of the project we are validating have we got the same amount of results or little less or something. So this validation is very important. If you can move on, and if you can see my screen, we are talking about the key questions that is asked in the every control phase tollgate review. The first and foremost question: what is the implementation plan? What training is required? What are the implementation risks? We talk about do we have we talk about the control plan a bit also in this tollgate review, but we are asking about the control plan that you have and the solutions that you just implemented. What is the plan for it? How do you plan to implement those solutions? And to implement the solutions, maybe you need to train people. Do you have the training plan ready? And what are the implementation risks? A very important part. We simply do not blindly implement any type of solutions. A well thought solution, it has to be, the risks have to be assessed, determined and measured and prioritized. So that's a key thing they will likely to ask, because once you have moved out of the project, the sponsor and black belt will be the one who will be accountable for the overall results of this project. So they will not like to get anything which is not completely done. How will the implementation plan be monitored to ensure its success? Who is accountable? So that's again a key question, part of the control plan. In control plan, we are asking how are we going to monitor the process. So this is a question from the monitoring plan of the control plan, where the both the sponsors and the project coach are asking how will you monitor the progress of these solutions, and who will monitor that progress. So that's again a key question to understand. Then third, what controls are in place to assure that the problem does not occur? That's the overall control plan we are talking in terms of here. They're talking about do you have a response plan also? This question also deals with, if something goes wrong, how would you deal with it? Do you have a contingency plan? Who is responsible for that contingency plan? Is it documented? Are people trained on that contingency plan? Have they been communicated on that contingency plan? And so that's very important thing that we must know, and we must let the stakeholders, let the business sponsor and the project coach know about it. Who is the process owner? Very important part. Sometimes it happens that we have completed the project, but there is no one in the project, in the operations team, who can take the handover from you. So in that case, this is an issue for the project leader, because they have to continue with the monitoring and running that process, and in this case the project leader are not able to move to another project. So this situation is not a very good situation to happen. So before we start a project, it's always right that we must know in advance. Once the project is over, it may take 4, 5, 6 months, but whenever it is over, it needs to be handed over to someone who would be the process owner after the project is over. So that's a very key. It may sound a small thing, but that can be a huge deterrence and can work as one of the showstoppers. So this has to be identified when we start the project. Another question that you can expect is more than one person aware of how the new system will work. Now these are some of the challenges. Sometimes it happens that we have trained the people on the new system, new solutions, but the problem is we have trained maybe one person and that person leaves the organization or maybe moves to other function, other teams. In that case, the entire control plan gets jeopardized, because only one person was aware. We trained only one person, and that one person, leaving that one person is a big risk. So we need to have a backup of the backup. That's a very good strategy actually. If you train 2%, it's highly unlikely that both of them will leave the organizations together, or they will not be or they will be absent at the same time. So it's good to have backup of a backup. Next question you can expect is, what barriers remain that will prevent implementation across the enterprise? Are there any actions contained in your plan to address these barriers? These barriers, we are talking from the people, process, technology point of view, because sometimes a lot of solutions are very sensitive. They require a lot of change in the ways of working, and we can face a lot of resistance. So these barriers may be some resistance from people, or barriers can be in terms of the cost that may be needed. Barriers can be in terms of huge implementation, a complex design. Barriers can be in terms of changing the mindset. So any type of barrier can exist. So as I said in the beginning also, don't take everything on you. Let the sponsors know that we can face these issues while we implement the solution. So their support is required. Some stakeholder needs to be aligned, and collaboration is key. So that's where the business sponsor will help us to ensure to sail through these situations. Next question they can ask is, what did the team learn from the project? Can others benefit from this learning? How can they best be shared? It's a very important thing. Once a project is over, we should always have a case study out of it. It should be a success story, people should know about it. But more than that, a project should always work as a guiding light for other projects. A lot of things that you would have done in a project can also help others to learn from that project and use in their project. It can be project management that they can learn. It can be stakeholder management they can learn. It can be some challenges that you faced and they would know how to deal with those challenges. It can be the knowledge of the tools. It can be some tricky situations that you were in but you failed through it. So how did you overcome those situations? So your project carries those lessons. It's very helpful to other projects, and a lot of time if you generated some solutions that can be replicated as common solutions across the organization would be really good. The next question you can expect is, what did you as a team learn about the process of making improvement? This is very important because process of making improvement is not just team of 4 working on a process and trying to brainstorm and finding solutions. It's about a collaboration. A lot of collaboration is happening with other teams, with multiple stakeholders, keeping them updated, informed, keeping them engaged. As a team, what do you learn? The first thing we learn is a collaboration. Second thing, we learn how to deal with stakeholders, the power of communication and change. So that's, as a team, you must learn. And they're expecting that you would have probably learned it, but they're asking, they are validating, have you learned any of these things or not? Can you be a mentor for others' team? That's one of the key things they are looking in you. Basically, they're looking a leader in you. And the last question you can expect is, what is the next problem in the process to be addressed? So one project is done, good, great, congratulations, but we don't stop here. You have done a project. You are our trained resource. You are an expert resource now. You should move to another project where you should show the same rigor, same expertise, and to improve that process. So what is the next project in line? Because if you remember, in defined phase, we talked about, we do brainstorming to build a pipeline of ideas, projects. So you did one project, you should move to another project. What is that project? Have you identified already, or you want a discussion over it? So that's what we do as part of the overall tollgate of the control phase. But not only control phase, but this tollgate also serves as the final review of the entire project, where financial benefits, your learning, your challenges, your next action, your team success, your team's thought process, and you as a project leader, all these things are validated, understood, and evaluated in that tollgate review. So that is when the project control phase tollgate gets over, your project gets over, and the formal sign off of the project happens here. But this is not where we stop today. We'll also talk about in the next session. Project is over though, but we need to hand it over to the operations team that will take care of it in the future, and you will move to another project. So let's talk about that, handing over our project to the operations team in the next session. Till then, keep watching. Thank you. This is Shivendra Sharma.